Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are, whatever day you're listening to us. For us, today is Thursday, November 30th, 2023. As always, I have the pleasure and the honor to be accompanied by the master forensicator, the script inquirer, the master tester, the brain to my pinky as we try to take over the digital forensics world, the one and only Heather Charpentier. The music is Higher Up by Shane Ivers and can be found at silvermansound.com. Heather!
Hello.
I bet you're asking yourself, the pinky to your brain, what is that all about?
What are you talking about?
Heather has not been introduced to the joys of the Animaniacs cartoon show when she was growing up. So,
No, I have not. I have no idea what you're talking about.
oh well, other than throwing you for a loop with a reference that you don't get because it's not your fault. What's going on? What's going on with you last time we were on the show?
Nothing much. Just been busy. Busy at work. Busy preparing for today and crazy busy. How about you?
Well, you folks can see, the ones that are watching, that I have a baseball cap hat, because in Florida it got cold, which means it got to maybe high 40s at night and like mid 60s to high 60s in the afternoon. In Florida, that's cold, and people bring their UGG boots. Is it UGG? Did you pronounce it UGG?
UGG. Yes.
I pronounce it ugh. I'm a hater. No, but it's been a little bit. I mean, it's not been that cold, but I put a hat on just because.
That's a beautiful temperature. My favorite.
Up in the frigid north, next to Santa where you live, I bet it is.
40s, yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, but no, I mean, doing a lot of forensics, a lot of work. Trying to I'll be traveling soon for work, so we'll discuss it in the next podcast how that went, and just ready to go. And obviously we're working. Actually, that really leads really nicely into it. We're working on the content for the IASIS Advanced Mobile Device Forensics class. Say that 3 times.
We are. We've been working on creating the content for the IASIS Advanced Mobile Device Forensics class. You're right. That is quite long and difficult to say. So if anybody's interested in coming and taking a class at IASIS, Alexis and I will be teaching that class, and it is going to be at the end of April, last week of April, or first week of May, 2 separate classes, 2 separate week-long classes. So
yeah, and don't worry, we're not gonna be streaming it live or nothing, so you'll be fine. And if you would like to, and I'd say please do. It's gonna be a good class, and we're in the creation process. So as we're going through it, reach out to us. Some of the things that you might want to see, and we're more than happy to see if we could do that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So and you said it's in April, right? April and to May, I think. April.
Yeah. So last week of April is the first week of the class, and into the first week of May is the second week of the class.
Yeah, but it's like 2 sessions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're not gonna be there 2 weeks, just 1 week.
Right. Correct.
Right. And yeah, in the class we're gonna discuss obviously more advanced topics. We're gonna discuss some data structures, and there's kind of more manual ways of doing that, and there's also tools to do that, right? And that brings us to tooling, right? And important stuff. And yeah, don't say your tool is the only one you need, right? So let me show you here. Show to everybody here. I did a post last week, Heather, I think.
Yeah, it was last week.
Yeah, and it was about in a post in LinkedIn, right? It's since Twitter kind of has been imploding, I've been moving, pretty much my digital forensics social presence to LinkedIn, and I have it on screen there. So I'm gonna read it for the folks that are listening. I opined, don't claim that your tool is the only tool. I'm sorry. Let me start again. Don't claim that your tool is the only one everyone needs. You know it's not true, and we do so too. Not only does technical discovery never stop, there will never be one tool that fulfills everybody's use cases. And then I said, look, tell us what your tool is good at. What are the killer functions and capabilities? Explain how it fits within the toolbox because we all know it will never substitute it. And the kicker for that is I got a little meme as always. There's a Google search. The Google search says you only need my digital forensics tool. And underneath, Google is responding, did you mean how to make sure you're missing evidence? And I'm making that commented point there because it happens with I mean pretty much all tool makers at some point. The PR department goes, this is the only thing you need. We do everything and you don't need anybody else. And I don't know about that approach, what you think, Heather, but I don't think it's the right approach.
Couldn't be more wrong. I use multiple tools on every single case, and I feel that if I only used one, it would be a complete disadvantage, and I would definitely be missing evidence. Use everything you have, everything in your toolbox. Why just use one tool ever? I mean, one tool could definitely be better than other on a particular case, but it's never going to be the only tool that you need for a case.
Well, I mean, and you can say, well, in some of the conversations, well, I mean, some of these tools might share processes or libraries, and yeah, I mean that might be true, right? At the end of the day, and we said that's in, we say this in every episode. The main pieces of evidence need to be checked by hand. I say by hand figuratively, right? You need to put eyeballs, bring out your hex viewers and stuff like that, and verify some of that. But there is value to having multiple tools as a validation process. And look, even if the tool were to do everything, you might not look like how it looks at the end of the process. It provides an output that's not usable for your use case, or it's too complex, or it's too simple, or doesn't give you the flexibility that you need for your stakeholders. So if any of the vendors are listening, I would suggest you refrain, because at the end of the day, I think the value, or at least how this market is weird, because most markets, in my opinion, if there's a competition, by me burying my competitor and gaining the market share, I'm good, right? And in this business, having competitors and kind of being part of an ecosystem that builds around each other, I think it brings success not only to the market leaders, to everybody else, right? Being part of that, it has to be like an ecosystem mentality. Does that make sense? Because it's unavoidable. Like in the tech world, especially digital forensics, the advancements are so quick because we're responding to developments in the operating system, developments in the platforms, development in the cloud storage world, and all type of stuff. And the change is constant. So just saying I'm going to be the one to rule them all, like Lord of the Rings, that's not happening.
No, it's always nice when the vendors realize it too. Like I've had vendors say to me, our tool doesn't do that the best. Try this tool. And there are certain vendors that will admit that this tool does that better than us. And it's great when they're able to admit that and let their customers know.
Oh no, I mean, and it comes to, you're being straightforward, and when you come with a new capability, I will definitely pay attention to you, right? Because I know you're not BSing me, and also I don't think the try hard look is a good look. So let's
Right.
be sure. Again, we're opining. It's our show. We can do that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, and anyway, let me. Well, yeah, I was gonna make a pointed comment, but I'm not going to. It's okay. Let's move on. All right. So we have tools, and actually, let me take the comment out. Let's bring out the banner. So the banner that we have for the next section, and it's something that's tooling that I've used a lot, right? So I've been using, and most of the folks that are in this business been using duplicators for a while. And for those that are not familiar, a duplicator is a little box, a hardware box that you put your source drive on one end and then your destination drive on the other, and it does a forensic extraction, be it EO1 format or other more modern formats, although EO1s continue to rule on kind of endpoint forensics and stuff like that. And or you can get a logical extraction from whatever device, right? And it goes to the other end and you have it. And there's the tool process logging. So Recently, OpenText, and they're the makers of the TD1 series. And I say TD1, it's a TD series. I said TD1 of a habit because I had a TD3 a million years ago. And it was like, I should have brought a picture. I didn't, but I had one a long time ago. And let me show you one of the latest that they're of the ones that they're using. Let me see if I can bring it up. So these little boxes, like I mentioned, some of them might have a good like a buttons to press, or a screen like a phone. It's like a tactile type of thing, so you can do your work. Actually, I did not. I thought I had the picture. I don't have it, but that's fine. So recently, and I am gonna show this part though. Blue Monkey Forensics is a great YouTube channel. I know the creator behind this channel. A really legit examiner, great human being, a person of mystery, literally. Really good guy. He made a review of the latest update for the TX1, which is one of the models, one of the more recent models that OpenText uses for these duplicators. I think they have a TD4 now, and the latest model, I believe. Something that's cool about it is that now you can get Android and iOS backups created from the duplicator, right? So you take your little duplicator box, you're working on some drives, there's a phone comes in, you put your phone in the usual mode, right? You if it's an Android device, you make it a developer mode and all that, and it does a logical backup for you, which is pretty neat, right? Now the tool, it's kind of becoming like, in regards to the duplication extraction process, an all-in-one, right? So I think it's a pretty cool update to that capability. What do you think?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's definitely an awesome capability added in. I mean, obviously you want to get the full file system with premium or gray key, but sometimes the Android backup is what you need to go for. I've had times too where I can't get the full file system, or I just need the Android backup or the iOS backup. And I mean, it would be a great option to try.
Yeah, and maybe for us, we're in law enforcement. I mean, we want that full file system, but I can see this a lot of utility, like in the
Hmm.
corporate sector. You might be interested in just the text messages, and then assuming, I don't know the
Right,
details, but assuming that this device has an agent to pull the text messages, that might be all you need, pulling the text
right.
messages. And actually, I was thinking, I mean, this, I'm not me actually. It was the author of the video, and I was thinking as he was saying that. He expressed that, does that mean that OpenText is moving into the mobile forensic space, which I think will be awesome. I think it will be good. Again, the more, like I said before, the ecosystem grows, the competition makes everybody better, because everybody's good at different things, because the technology moves so fast. And if they're going that route, I hope so. I mean, I would totally go for, or would like to see one of their TX products, those duplicators, doing full file systems, right? Actually being able to get a full file system extraction, or even maybe making a kind of getting into the device, right? Getting that root, or jailbroken administrator super user access, and maybe not do a full extraction, but maybe at that, with that access level, do a targeted extraction. Because again, in our field, we want the full file systems, but depending on the use case, you might not need everything on that full file system, right? You might just need
Right,
particular chat applications, whatever it is.
right.
So this is a good update, and that duplicator space competition is heating up. And yeah, iOS 17. Geraldine is saying that I'm looking at you, iOS 17. I'm looking at them too.
I think we all just want iOS 17, please. Anybody who can get it, it doesn't matter which company. Please get us iOS 17.
I really need some SecB files, the new version, so I can actually dig into them. But yeah, so there's a lot of development. So you have a TX1, and as typical examiners, you put that firmware, and you're like, yeah, I validate my write blockers every year. Yeah, you validate your write blocker. When was the last time you changed the firmware on that thing? 2007. You know what I mean? So go and download in the firmware updaters, little program you put on your computer, and you connect your TX1. Well, actually, TX1 is a little bit different. TX1, you have to take the SD card from the device, then connect it to your computer, and it will update the firmware in the SD card, and then you insert the SD card back in. So yeah, we need to do that firmware, and at least look at it at least once a year at a minimum, you know. But no, the space is heating up, and with that, we have a good product in that kind of space that Heather's gonna introduce us to.
Yeah. So we recently, actually, Alexis and I both had the chance to work with Arcpoint Forensics Atrio. And I actually have it right here with me. So I can show what it looks like. Little handheld device here that has a ton of capabilities I'm going to talk about. And I'm not going to do a live demo with it because...
Before you take it, can you show
that
it
would
again?
be difficult. Yeah,
Can you show it again?
absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
so, there's something I sorry I'm interrupting. I need to say this.
Going the wrong way.
So folks that are watching, they can see the buttons, right? So it's 5 rows across and 3 rows down, and the buttons are lighted, and the content of the button changes. And I want to say, so people are clear, those are Stream Deck buttons, but don't get confused, okay? It's only the buttons. Behind those buttons is a full, proprietary, different deal behind them, right? So I say, hey, ain't that a Stream Deck? I'm like, only the buttons for us for pressing. That's it. Like behind that thing, it's a whole another ball game. So just to make that clear.
All right. So let me just share my screen here. So here's some close-ups so that you can't see the buttons with me holding it up. But this is the main screen when you turn Atrio on, and it has numerous capabilities. It has the capability to image file carving. It has wipe capabilities, hashing, virus scans. It has some reporting capabilities, and it has AI capabilities within the Atrio. These are some of the reporting, some of the processing capabilities that it has. It has the capabilities to process registry, process event logs, photo processing, audio are just some of the processing options, email, documents, deleted files, browser history. And then for imaging options, you can see on the screen it has E01, DD, AFF4. There's Android backup is also included in the Atrio for imaging options. And then there's some carving options. You can do unallocated space. It could carve the entire drive. And then my favorite part of the Atrio, here we have the AI options. There are photo AI options. So there's object detection. There's in the object detection, there's guns, license plates, people, vehicles, street signs, beds, graphic content. It has a CCM feature that can be requested. And those are just some of the options for the photos. There's text from audio. So the text from audio actually transcribes WAV audio files into text, and it can convert other audio types into WAV and then transcribe those. There's text translation, which translates text files into English and supports 7 languages. I actually tested this one out. It did a PDF as well for me. So I typed some stuff into Spanish into a text, and then also created it in a PDF, and it translated those for me. It's able to scrape PDF and doc data. And then I thought I had a slide of the languages, but there's 7 different languages in there. And then I have the Atrio hooked up. I was imaging a drive. So they actually provide a drive here to use as your output drive, and the source drive I have hooked up and image this drive. It was very fast for imaging. And once it was done, I imaged and I did some of the processing options. Once it was done, the results all go out to the drive, and this is what the results look like in their file structure here. So the acquisition goes into one folder and the results in another. We have the acquisition and the hash, and then a progress report. And in the other folder, there are folders for I ran deleted documents, deleted multimedia, and then documents, multimedia, and photos. And then there's results reports. So these are the reports about the actual acquisition and about the drive themselves.
Nice.
So it's really a neat little tool. I actually enjoyed testing it out. There's more functions that I didn't get a chance to test yet. And I actually got to meet with Amy from Arcpoint, and we discussed my likes and dislikes. And she's really open to listening to what you like or dislike about the tool and making changes if there are dislikes about the tool. So I really like it, and I'm going to continue testing it until I have to give it back. So, which is probably going to be soon. But
Yeah. Hey, are you giving me the device back? You're like, what back?
yeah, so I'm sure I'm gonna get a shipping label in the mail eventually, but I haven't gotten it yet. So I'm gonna continue to mess around with it.
Hey, Briggs. Heather's emails I'm sending her are bouncing. What's happening?
Yeah, the email will be coming soon.
Well, let me. I want to give a few thoughts on the product. So obviously, like you
Yeah.
said, we both tested it, and I think the big differentiator, like I said, duplicator market is they duplicate, right? That's the main focus, right? So I'll make some comments on the market at the end, but for Atrio product specifically, right? I think the big benefit the tool brings is this combination of processing, just plain processing on site, and because duplicating, if you're gonna duplicate a whole drive, an hour, I mean, it's never gonna be quick, right?
Sure.
So having a unique device to copy stuff in the field, to me, is not a big deal. I can bring a laptop, a few cables, and an FTK imager that's free and do it, right? But the big benefit, I believe, is in these devices having these analytical capabilities on the field, which you wouldn't have on your laptop at that degree of level, because your laptop is not designed nor does it have the unique focus or power to do those, right? The AI stuff. I did some testing with the AI for the CSAM materials. For those who are not familiar, it's child sexual abuse material, and that's it. I'm not gonna go into details with any of that. And that it was pretty efficient, and it found the things. And then it becomes, I think I've been preaching this also a couple episodes ago. How can we take this and take it to the next level? For example, for those in law enforcement, we have an access to a database called Project Vic, and this database is hash sets or hashes of files that serve us as indicators of contraband. And I'm going to refer to these images moving forward for this discussion as contraband. I want to find, and that's contraband, obviously, that's known because we have a hash for it. We hashed it, we have a unique digital fingerprint for it, and we can identify it, okay? The AI will also try to identify this contraband, but it's not based on the hash, right? It's based on the LLM or algorithm that the artificial intelligence was trained upon, obviously with law enforcement and all that, done properly, of course. Now, this is the part that I'm thinking, like, taking the next step. What if the tooling on site is able to say, okay, I'm going to look at these hash sets and concurrently do the AI processing. And as those are going at the same time, and when they are done, the tooling, I want the tooling, for example, to say, okay, show me all the hits that the AI had that are not part of the known hash set, right? And why would I want to do that, right? Because at that point, I'll be minimizing the universe of possible evidence to possible contraband that has not been seen before, okay? Which could indicate that we need to really work on finding information about this contraband, because the main purpose, the only purpose here, is to save children, right? That are at risk right now, okay? But look how we can take this concept, and instead of waiting to go to the lab to do that, right? Because we're looking to help victims now. If we have that capability on the field, uniting a hash set with AI knowledge to do that filtering, and I think that's where we could do good. And I think that's where these type of devices are gonna be should be moving towards. And I think Jared and Amy, the folks that are behind Atrio, they're really open to listen to that.
Yeah, they definitely are.
Yeah. one thing that I would say is that, again, like, and this is every single tool, and I'm gonna just make the point now, as opposed to in a second, when I talk about the market. So it gives you a report and it gives you hits because the interface says, okay, photos AI looks for nudity, and there's no division, just nudity, period, right? I would like a report that divides it. Say, okay, this is adult stuff and this is contraband stuff. And the reason is, if I'm working on a case, right, the adult stuff might not be relevant to me, as opposed maybe to a version of the product that's designed for the consumer market, not law enforcement market. By consumer, I mean the civil private sector. Okay, so they can get their flagger for adult stuff and the law enforcement for the contraband. The report should be separate, shouldn't be all commingled, because then it gets another step for us on the field to try to filter down what's contraband and what's not. So, and tool makers, as you provide those things, always, and again, like I said, Amy is really into doing those changes. Be in communication with your stakeholders. For them, it's us, the examiners, right? And if you're a vendor in the civil sector, civil private sector, also be aware of your stakeholders and how can you make that workflow more efficient. So give me my MAC times. So always give me times. So let's say I found that image that's contraband. I've never seen it before. When was it? I say when, quotations, right? But give me the MAC times of those. MAC times when it was created, modifier access, right? So I can then hopefully determine when that hit that location, that piece of media, and then go from there. All right. And again, just reporting. What do you thought about you did some testing with the AI as well, right? For the contraband?
I did. Yeah, I did the testing with the CSAM AI as well, and I thought it worked pretty well. I definitely, it identified the CSAM material for me in the case that I worked with it, and I thought it did a good job. Definitely. When you're talking about the reporting as well, Amy and I had some conversations about the reporting. She's very open to suggestions. So if anybody does do a demo of Arcpoint, or of Atrio, of Arcpoint's the company, but does a demo of Atrio, make sure you test it out and let them know what your likes and dislikes are, because they will definitely listen. We just got a comment. What are some negatives? And I talked to Amy, and my negatives was reporting, but my negatives always reporting. I think I've said that on the show 800 times. I haven't found a report I like yet. So, and she's actually working on reporting now and making changes. And we're going back and forth right now with reporting options to make the reporting better. So it's very open to whatever customers need. So excellent customer service with Arcpoint.
Yeah, and in regards for me on the negative.
And there she is.
Oh, there we go.
Hi, Amy.
So now your ears won't be ringing because we're not talking behind your back. We're talking with you right up front as you're listening to us live. This is great.
Yeah.
See, I was gonna say what I don't like, but now I'm not gonna say it. No, I'm kidding. So this is again, and Amy knows this. Everybody knows us knows this. We're not shills for anybody, and we're also not haters, right? We'll give you our opinions and try to be constructive about it. So the reporting, again, most 99.9% of the tools have issues with reporting. My tooling has issues with reporting. It's something that's my goal for next year. I'm learning JavaScript and React to be able to make my reporting better. And it's folks helping me in regards to that. Anyways, I digress. So the reporting, at the beginning, I was a little bit confused how to navigate the interface. It was my fault because the tooling, since I didn't hit the right places, it was trying to do the parsing of data with the copying. And for me, the copying is not a big differentiator, which I'll mention in a second. What I'm really interested in is what are the capabilities that I can bring to the field as I'm doing a forensic triaging. And that's the main point of these type of tools. Actually, if you don't mind, Heather, I'm going to start talking about the market in general.
Sure.
These duplicators, their big thing is triaging. Just having this duplicator sitting at your desk, you will have some benefit, of course, but you won't get as much bang for your buck just by having it sitting on your desk. I have a full desktop processing server for that, right? Is bringing that equipment in that form factor out and doing things out in the field, okay? That's where the big benefit comes. So I didn't want to focus on how fast does the thing copy out in the field, because most likely I'm not going to copy a full drive in the field with this device. And driving copying drives as a differentiator, I believe, is a dead end. And I say that because even if you have the most advanced hardware ever and your source and your destination are the fastest SSDs, those devices will only copy at the speed they're designed to, that the bus lets it go, right? Which is always going to be lower than that theoretical maximum. Okay, so we can have parity among all duplicators just by having good hardware. Does that make sense, Heather? Like, am I getting
Yeah.
across? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So where's the differentiator there? Yeah, I copy at whatever, at 300 megabytes per second. Well, me too. And I cannot. I mean, it's making numbers up, but I cannot copy any faster, and neither can you. That's how fast the drive goes, right? So there's not going to be a big differentiator there. But what are you doing either as you're copying or just by not copying, right? Just by going into that media and processing stuff out, right? Actually, I have a lot of thoughts about that. So with and again, the product that Arcpoint, for instance, is bringing, I see a lot of space for growth. The AI was my big thing that I believe make the product really worthwhile, and so for those type of purposes, because of that, okay. A This duplicators will depend on those use cases, right? And how the vendors cater to those will depend. It will drive the adoption. Let me give you an example, so it makes sense. If you're in the military, right, and you have this type of duplicator, well, you will want that duplicator to be able to do things in the field quickly, because it's highly likely you're in a hostile environment, right? And you want to go quick. You don't want those buttons or that screen to be lit up, or if it's lit up, it has to be in, I guess, I've never been in the military, but based on my extensive knowledge watching TV, you want it to be red in colors that don't flag your location or something like that. Again, I'm not a military person, so please, folks, don't throw tomatoes at me when you see me. But at least it makes sense to me. Right? You want a device that will fit the needs for those users, right? If you're in law enforcement, I might not mind the screen being bright as I'm doing my work, but I do want to be able to, for example, to have certain profiles. And I say profiles because I might not want everything. I want to be able to tell the device, hey, I want you to pull these things, and when you pull those, do these other things when you pull them, and then giving them to me in your destination output now, so I can act on it here on the field. Okay, and that not only for me in law enforcement. If you think of folks in the private sector, let's say they have the product across at their location across the sea, let's say in the UK, and even though it's one company, as folks that have been in the private sector, I've been as well. You can have a company that buys another company. They're one company, but the IT structure is different. How they manage their endpoints is different. Can I get to the endpoint using this client software? And they're like, no, because it's not compatible. All sorts of things happen. But if they have that hardware over there, and I send them that profile, they put on the device takes care of everything, and then just push that stuff cloud over to me. Or if it's an evidentiary matter, put on a hard drive, put a chain of custody, and ship it properly. Or somebody courier, sorry. Yeah, have a courier bring it over, right? That really allows folks on the other end that might not be as technical to do that job. As long as you push that profile, and they only have to push a couple of buttons, and the thing goes and does its thing on its own, right? So there's a lot of growth that could be done as duplicators as the hardware also becomes faster and stronger. Yeah. So long story short, I like it, but for a really specific purposes. Is when I'm out on the field. Let me see if I'm not missing anything from my little list here. Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. And again, thanks, Amy, for letting us try it out.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, we appreciate it, and I bet they're coming up with all sorts of new stuff coming up. I think at some point they might add some iLeap and ALeap support at some point. I think that's in the roadmap that we discussed some time ago. So we're really excited to see how that pans out.
All right. So I am going to highlight DFIR Diva. So I am sure everybody that is in this chat has heard of or seen DFIR Diva. Elon Wright. I have never met her, but she is everywhere. And I wanted to take some time just to highlight her and make sure everybody goes and visits her site because she is always giving back to the forensic community and she shares resources. She has trainings listed on her site. She's always sharing our page. She's always listing free and affordable trainings and resources and websites and webinars and YouTube channels and groups and books and tools and scholarships and certifications and anything you can think of. She's sharing it on every social media platform that you can think of. So I just kind of wanted to highlight her. I've actually never met her. I would love to. But she also has a merchandise site, and you can go buy T-shirts that are DFIR. And I just kind of wanted to give her a shout out because she is always helping out the DFIR community. So everybody go visit her site and go buy one of her T-shirts. I have her Nerdy by Nature T-shirt, and I think it's just great. So big shout out to DFIR Diva.
She's awesome. Again, I haven't had the pleasure of meeting her in person, but I've seen some interviews. The interview that Jessica Hyde did with her some time ago, and yeah, she's awesome, man. And she not only shares the resources, she also does them, right? She's constantly taking courses and posting LinkedIn different achievement that she gets. So when she gives some advice on what's something that's good, you can be sure that it is good.
Yeah, like everything constantly, and it's just like it's so helpful all the time. So very appreciated.
Yeah, and that speaks also to her attitude and our attitude, right? As folks in this field, and that's our attitude is everything, right? She has a really growth mindset. She wants to grow. She wants other people to grow, and that's the mindset we should all take, especially if we're going to either go to a class or if we're going to ask anybody for help. Our attitude will really dictate what type of results we get from that.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's folks that have asked us. So okay, so what do I expect, especially new people? What to expect when I go to a class, right? I'm going to take a digital forensics class, and how should I expect from that class? And actually, even if you're an experienced person, right? Sometimes we get so set in our ways, and we go to take a class, and we have this crusty mindset of how a class should be, and we have to check ourselves constantly because if we don't, we're not gonna get the benefit we're gonna get from a class or asking for help from somebody in the field. So we want to talk a little bit about that. What would you say, Heather? So let's talk about
So when you go to a training, what to expect out of a training. This was a topic that came up with me recently. So when you go to a training course, don't expect the training course to teach you everything that there is to know about that topic, whether it be like if it's a beginner class in mobile forensics or a beginner class in digital forensics altogether. You're not going to learn everything there is to know about forensics in one digital forensics class. There's continued learning. There's always going to be continued learning, and you're not going to learn everything there is in one single class. And when you're done with that class, there's going to be outside research that's needed by you. So if it's a specific topic, whether it be data stores or it be SQLite or it be whatever topic it is, you're going to have to come back from training and continue to learn on your own. The teacher is not going to be able to teach you everything there is to know about that topic in a 1-week class, especially even in a 2-week class or a 3-week class. You're just not going to learn everything there is to know in that time span. So,
and for some folks, some folks might be thinking, but come on, Heather, come on, Briggs, that's obvious, right? And it's not that obvious, right? We teach a lot throughout the year.
Yes.
And I got examiners that have been in it longer than me, and they're like having this type of question of, well, we spent X amount of hours and I didn't get to learn X, Y, and Z. And like Heather's saying, these classes, right? The classes themselves are to teach you how to learn. Does that make sense? So it's not so much you're gonna learn A, B, C, and D. I want to teach you the A, B, C, and D's in the context of how we know these things. Because when D, E, and F, or F, G, and H, whatever letters you want, comes along, right? I'm
Yeah.
not gonna be there to tell you about them. So take the concepts that you learned for the first set of data and apply them to the other ones. And there's a good conversation in the chat that I'm kind of
Yes,
eyeballing as
sir.
I'm
Yes, sir.
talking. Right? What do you think about that? About the conversation, Heather?
Yeah. So trainers learn new stuff when delivering classes. And then Jessica says, I learned so much from the questions students ask. So absolutely. So that's another expectation not to have when you go to class. As a teacher, as a trainer and instructor, that when you go to class, you can't expect the trainer and instructor to know the answer to absolutely everything, right? They're not going to know the answer to everything, especially in forensics. Nobody can know the answer to everything. I've taught classes at the college level and taught classes for law enforcement, and I have definitely learned things from the students in both classes. Every class I've taught, I've learned something from the students that I didn't know before. So the trainers learned something in every class as well. I have to agree 100%.
Oh, and last year in IASIS, right? We're teaching. We didn't have the advanced course yet, so it's just the main mobile forensics course. And we're
Mm-hmm.
teaching, and one of the breaks, one of the student goes, "Hey, you know that topic you were talking about in regards to an investigation with a crash and all that?" Again, I'm not gonna spill the whole details in the show, but because it's an ongoing case, and he talked to the class about the process that he used, and I told him, "Hey, look, you need to talk to the class," and he was kind enough to share his experience, and the whole class benefited from it. And he wasn't the instructor; he was a student, and I had him come
Yeah.
up. I say I, but we all
Yeah.
had him come up
Yeah.
to explain what he was doing because it was relevant to the class. So we all learn, and
Right.
it's about having that attitude. If you don't have a good attitude, you can have the best instructor in the world, and you're not gonna learn anything. And
Right.
again, it's not the details of the instruction, like the the learning, not learning, but the actual endpoint of the instruction is the process, right? It's not what you learn at the end, it's how do you get to that endpoint. Okay, how do you what's the process to understand this, right? If I tell you, look, this sec.b file, like I mentioned in a previous episode, the bottom part contains the pointers to where the data is in the middle of the file, right? And this is the content of the middle of that file, and here's the content, you can read it. Okay, I can read it, but who cares if I don't understand the process to get there? How would you able to figure that out? If you look at the header, okay, so, and explain the different offsets and how my process to get there, you're not gonna get that benefit in the long term, right? You'll be constantly
Right.
depending on somebody to tell you how to do things, and there will
Right.
be a situation that will be unique to you and your case, and there will be nobody that's gone through it, and you're the one that's gonna trailblaze that knowledge and then obviously make it known to others. So
Yeah, 100%. And some classes are better than others. Some are mediocre classes, some are good classes, some are great classes, but I've never been to a class where I didn't learn something. I just haven't. There's always something to be learned. I haven't been to a horrible forensics class since I started this job 9 years ago.
no, I mean, I absolutely agree. Even a class where I know all the content, because it's a class that I went because, hey, it's a class that we're giving your group, so you have to go, and I knew the content pretty much back. I always got either a good analogy out of it, a good way of teaching it to others, or how to apply it in a context I did not know that I could apply it to, even though I knew the actual endpoints of the teaching. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I think that's having a good attitude, especially also because, again, we go to the classes, we ask questions to learn, and we might ask questions outside of the class context. We might go the defer Discord, or to Reddit, or send somebody an email or a direct message over on LinkedIn. And if you're gonna ask a question, just be aware of a few things, right? At least with me, don't tell me, hey, for example, could you add support for X, just like that, and not give me source data, not explain to me what research you did on it or how to go about it. Well, no, that's not going to happen.
Right.
or
Right.
how do you get this encrypted messages off of whatever? Like, my answer would be, I don't know. Be willing to actually work with the people that you're trying to ask help from. if you want to get results from that, right? And nobody has any obligation to do your job or do your work or answer your question. Nobody's obligated, right? But people want to help, right? We're a social species. We're good folks, and we want to help. But hey, you gotta help yourself a little bit first.
Right. Yeah. So when asking others for help, make sure you've done all your research first. Make sure you've checked everywhere you can check to see if the answer's out there somewhere first, right? And yeah, be prepared to answer the questions that are going to be asked of you if you're asking for help. That's definitely. I just love it. I always have to repeat this one, but when somebody calls and asks for help with a phone, hey, can you get an extraction from a black iPhone? No research whatsoever. Yeah, let me help you. I can help you, definitely. So no research whatsoever, but do your research first. Have all of the answers to the questions I'm going to ask you ahead of time.
I just pictured you. Yeah, I'll give you a black eye, and then your phone.
Watch out.
Oh, black eye. Here you have one. Here you go. No, and I got so many situations where the person asked the question, and I literally been tempted to send them a "let me Google that for you" link. And
Yeah.
if you're not familiar, you go to this "let me Google that for you," and you put the search, and it creates a link where the person presses opens like a Google looking web page.
Yeah.
It types the question in, clicks the search, and then it gives you actual Google searches for it. I'm like, come on, man, come on, girl. Let's do the minimum required before you ask the question.
Right.
No, and when you actually, and again, it's not about not asking questions. Ask questions.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
If you do the research that you try, you do your best. You say, look, this is how far I've gone. This is what I know. This is what I don't know. Then we can work with you, right? And because maybe we also don't know, but we know what steps to take next, right? We took that class that we were talking about a second ago. We learned the process to get to places. Well, you know what? Let's apply it. I learned how to do it in class. Let's go forward. But you gotta give me a heads up, because nobody has time and nobody owes you an answer. Nobody owes you explanations. Right. It's be kind, and people be kind to you back. You know. Yeah, like Geraldine is saying, yeah, sometimes they tell you, well, I didn't have time to Google it. Well, what makes you think that I have time to Google it for you? You know what? You sending me the email or DM, that's the time you should have used to Google it first.
But Geraldine, do you Google it for them? That's the question. Because I do for some reason. I don't know why I do it.
No, you're a nice person. You're a nice person.
Sometimes.
Yeah, and again, folks that ourselves that are really active in the community, we will try to help you as much as you can, but don't talk about expectations, right? Set expectations for the class, but also set expectations in regards to people that are, active in the field. You're busy, we're busy, everybody's busy, right? So, right. Make sure you give us a reason to help you that we can fit into our schedule and our daily lives, and I think that's applicable to every single person that's listening this, actually every single person on this planet.
Yeah.
Can relate to that, right? Not having enough hours in a day,
Definitely.
Yeah. And, we've been accused multiple times of only talking about mobile forensic stuff.
Oh,
right?
yes.
Which, so a little bit of truth, but we got some Windows stuff for today, people. So.
We do. So I recently had the chance to work with some Arsenal Recon products, which I have not before. Well, I worked with a level DB Recon product before, but none of the other ones. So I recently
only use the imager of the the mounter. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I recently was testing out. So I'll just give a short slide here about some of the products that Arsenal has. So they have the image mounter, hibernation recon, registry recon. The level DB recon is the one that I have actually worked with before. It does a really good job with the level DB files. But I recently was contacted about the image mounter and its capability to launch an image in a virtual machine and bypass the Windows logon screen, and then not only bypass the Windows logon logon screen, but also access protected data like browser stored passwords and EFS encrypted objects. So these are just slides going through the process. I will show you the actual virtual machine in just a minute, but I did slides of the whole process to save time. But I mounted the E01, and it was from a Capture the Flag challenge. And then launched it in a virtual machine.
Yeah, and let me just make a quick point. So you have, so the folks that are listening, you get the product, right? You got Arsenal, the image mounter, and you got your E01 or your image, right? And the tooling lets you mount that and even virtualize it so you can bring that up. Just a quick comment here I want to make. I haven't seen any. I mean, there might be, but I haven't seen any mounter like this that you can interact efficiently and properly with volume shadow copies. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and for example, and again, no dig to FTK Imager. Again, we're not haters, but it's true. FTK Imager will not, if you mount stuff with it, will not let you access those volume shadow copies. It's just be a big mess. It's not gonna work. But image, so Arsenal does it. So, and I used that for a long time to work with those volume shadow copies and do kind of more quote unquote manual stuff with it. But you can virtualize, and what Heather here is showing is, puts the product, tells the product to mount it and virtualize it, and it's amazing. It just, from the extraction from the E01, it opens a virtual machine.
Yes. So it starts up in the virtual machine and bypasses the Windows password, the Windows logon screen. And I launched the Internet Explorer and was able to go to the password section, find the user's stored Facebook, Instagram, TikTok accounts, and you can see there the usernames and passwords for the user in the Internet Explorer. So it can also do a lot more than just that, but for demo purposes, I just went to Internet Explorer in this image, but literally can just access the usernames and passwords immediately by launching it in the virtual machine here. So I'm gonna take this down for a second and just share my screen here with the actual virtual machine because I have it here. Let me.
And the value you get from virtualizing the machines, because I can get that stuff. A lot of that content I can get it by looking at the forensic image. But there's really unique value in showing that computer how it was being utilized, how things were ordered, just from demonstration purposes. It can really make or break your case in regards to what impression you cause in those stakeholders, in the jury, and whoever, where they can see the stuff as the user saw it. It's amazing.
Yeah. So I still have it up, and I wanted to actually show it while it's live. Mostly because I can click through here and it's actually working. I don't know if anybody else has ever tried to virtualize an E01 in any other tools and has tried to click through using any other tools, but this actually works. I've had other tools where it didn't work at all, or it was just super slow and clunky and it just didn't work for me. And this, I mean, it's quick. I can open it right up and it actually works. And I don't know, I really, really like it. It works very well. So I want to make sure that I actually showed it live here, but not go through the whole process.
No, yeah, and I some years ago, I used to try to, I did it with VirtualBox, kind of by hand. And like you're saying, it's slow, clunky, it crashes, and some images, I don't know, I mean, maybe user error or maybe something changed. I just couldn't get into virtualize, period. And even with some products, they're like, yeah, use this scene to virtualize. And you put it like, well, this doesn't work. But Arsenal, at least all the times that I've used it, has been pretty solid and they always keep up with it. And again, I really, really, really like that feature. It's really awesome. I'm going to try it on some of my cases. I just didn't have a chance yet. So I used some of the Capture the Flag images, but it worked really well on both of the images I tried it on. So I was really impressed with that. And I've never
I've never used it before. I know a lot of people that are here. I know you've used it before, and I think a lot of people in the comments are saying they've used it before, but I had never done it, and I'm really impressed with it. So
Yeah, no, I had a case where I wanted to show the contents, the searches of a peer-to-peer program, right? And
mhm.
yeah, I had those in a spreadsheet, because that's usually how tools show you things. But I
Mhm.
virtualized it and I opened the program and I could look at all those results within the program itself. That the exhibit that I created by having it how it looked and being able to say, yeah, this is exactly how it looked. This was taken from the virtualized environment, which is how the user would have seen it. I mean, it's a game changer, like Adam was saying in the
Yeah.
chat. In the chat.
Yeah. I'm going to actually pop the PowerPoint back up because I have a couple slides. They actually also recently updated their level DB tool as well. So they released a new version with some bug fixes and a new customizable predefined filter option. So they actually put some slides on Twitter. I just stole them here for my PowerPoint, but I'm just gonna run through it real quick. So if you haven't used the level DB tool that they have, it's pretty good too. You can export the level DB files, bring them into the tool, and it has the capability of parsing them. It does a pretty good job on parsing that data out. And now they have, if you see here on this screen, they have that customizable filter where you can filter for data. And that's new. So
It's like looking for strings and stuff like that, right?
yeah. So if you haven't updated and tried yet, download the new version and give it a try.
And if you're not familiar with level DBs, your browsers are chock full of level
Yeah.
DBs that tooling pretty much ignores, right? I found
Mhm.
level DBs in a Firefox privacy type of environment, and I got some hits within the level DB, even though the internet history was deleted because it's a privacy browser. That's what it does, right? Android devices, tons of important information in those level DB data stores or data structures. So tooling like this really helps when the cases get complicated.
Yeah, definitely. And then I was talking, their support is phenomenal. So I was struggling because I do, and user error hit me on trying these tools out. And I popped into Discord with support and they fixed my issues immediately. It was all user error. They have really, really good support. And I was chatting with them today, and I just want to let everybody know too, they're releasing a major update in December, adding PIN and password attacks, which include new password sledgehammer database. And they have many more updates. So look for upcoming news for a lot of major updates. I'm hoping to test it in the future and hopefully talk about it again after I test it out. So look for those upcoming features.
I just love the sledgehammer. It's kind of like,
Yeah, me too. Me too. I
we're not
can't wait
gonna
to
just
try that one out.
yeah, we're not gonna hit it. We're gonna sledge it, and we're gonna have
Yeah.
yeah. No, it's good stuff. And again, I think today was a really tool centric day, and I like those days. I like to play with tools. I like hardware. I like software. I know you do.
Mhm.
So it was a fun couple of weeks, putting all this together.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that's why we have the semi-cool nerds sign behind you.
Yes.
We were being nerds for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
So.
which is it's actually Heather. We're talking about something, and she's like, "Well, you're more like a semi-cool nerd, like kind of bringing me down." And I'm like, you know what? Usually I'm called a full-on nerd and nothing cool about it, so I'll take semi any day.
I'm not sure I said that.
Yeah, that's totally you, even though you don't remember it. No, but well, kidding aside, right? We're realistic about where we are in life, and we enjoy what we do. And there's others that enjoy it as well. So find your tribe, find your semi-cool nerds, hang out with us.
Ooh, we got to put this one up too.
Yeah,
Jessica has a level DB class coming up. You have to check out her level DB class, definitely. The Hexordia training is top notch, and I am sure the class is going to be as well.
Yeah, and tooling without knowledge, you go nowhere, right? It's like being super smart and super intelligent and all that, and then having no effort. Well, you're gonna be nobody, right? Or you could be maybe not that smart but you're dedicated, you have grit, and you'll go far. So I say that example because you get a tool can do a lot of stuff. If you don't know what it's doing or how it's doing it, you're gonna be in a tough spot if you get asked a single question about what that output is. So you
Yeah.
take a class like Jessica's, or do your own
Oh,
research in
yeah.
regards to how level DB is organized, how they work, in what context, what's the purpose, and how is it applied in an application, a third-party application, or in a system application like FCM in Androids. And then you get to that next level because the tool is only as good as the examiner that's wielding it. All right, and let's not take that in, not forget about that.
Oh, I got to share one more.
Yeah.
Totally buying the t-shirt.
Yeah, Kevin is saying semi-cool nerd coming to a shirt soon. That's awesome. Yeah, we're semi-cool nerds, and I dig it. I dig it. Yeah. Jessica has courses online and also courses in person. Obviously, I would prefer, if it's up to me, go to person because then you have her there, and you can actually
Mhm.
tap into that worth of knowledge in person. But if you don't have the capability of taking a in-person class, you can also take it online. And I'll be straight. I she's my friend, a good friend, but that's not a bias because her content is good though. So and again, we receive no money for any of this. We're being sincere and honest, so it's good stuff. And again, going to those courses and have the right attitude, which leads me to the meme of the week. All right, and this meme of the week again is a world premiere because it'll be coming out social media soonish. And the meme of the week, it's the following. You're gonna see here for the folks that are watching, you're gonna see a person putting some white makeup on their face, and once they're putting the makeup, it says, "Who needs a week-long digital forensics class?" And then they start kind of putting the lipstick and the eyes, right? And why is this teacher going over all these conceptual things? And then is they're putting us this clown hair on it, and is doing the lab really necessary, right? And at the end, when the individual is fully dressed as a clown, it says, "I learned nothing. This class is trash," right? And if you get to that point, yeah, you are a clown, right? Um, uh, things in courses, it all builds. It builds, and the secret of to understanding all these is just having a good attitude, right? Saying, "Look, I don't understand." Or maybe I'm advanced. I don't need the conceptual stuff. Well, pay attention. You will. You will.
Yes.
Oh, the labs. Give it a shot. Give it a shot. And if you don't know anything about it, don't let that be a barrier to try it. Just try it, right? And in the process, you will learn something, or you will get it, and you will do it. And then when you come out of the class, it don't matter if you learn a lot. If you learn a little, you get something out of it. So let's not be clowns. Let's just be semi cool nerds.
Agreed. Semi-cool nerds, everybody.
Well, Heather, we came to the end of our time together on the show. So thank you, everybody that's been
Yeah.
watching, and thank you for all you all listening on the podcast later as you drive or at home. We appreciate you, and hit us up in LinkedIn. Look for the Digital Forensics Now podcast. Leave us questions, comments, concerns, any complaints. Leave them to Heather, and she will take care of them. And again, thank you so much. I'm gonna explain to Heather now what Pinky and the Brain is, so
Yes, please.
so she'll get the reference. All right. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.